Hi everyone, welcome. I'm Anwar, and I'm going to take you through today some of the best shoulder exercises or upper limb exercises I know that will help improve strength, flexibility, control, whether you're in pain or you want to just improve the ranges of motions that you already have. So follow along. Let me know if there's anything that you're struggling with, and let me know if there's things that you want to see more of. If you're going to pick one of the exercises today, make sure it's this one. It's essentially soft tissue release around the hand. We've got 27 bones in the hand, and what I find is that a lot of them don't move very well. So what we'll do is look to put our body weight onto our hands, and we're actually looking for points of discomfort. We'll start an internal rotation, so you have your fingers towards the midline, and what you're doing with your knee is looking to make pressure onto the hand, release, and then you'll find a new spot. You'll make pressure. You may even stay on somewhere that's a little bit uncomfortable. Take a breath, release, find a new spot. You're gonna do this for a minute. Over that minute, you're looking to navigate your place to the point of most discomfort. So at the end of a minute, you'll stay on that place that's really, really uncomfortable. Initially, you might need to breathe and just regulate kind of how you feel. And then we're gonna actually move our joints around the fixed point of the hand. So our first movement will be in the elbow. We'll look to bend the elbow, straighten the elbow. Maybe do this for a few reps, 10 or 15 seconds. Then we'll move to the ball and socket joint by adding some rotation, opening and closing the chest in relationship to the arm. Then we'll move to the scapula, the shoulder blades. Try to move the shoulder blade in a circle. And as I'm moving these joints, I don't want to add extra. I don't want to add the elbow, and I don't want to add the neck and the spine. I want to be very, very specific to moving the one joint that I'm trying to work with. Once you've done a couple of circles in the shoulder blades, we'll move to the neck, cervical spine, the upper spine, circles in one direction, circles in another direction, maybe some side bends, flexion and extension. We'll take that to the thoracic spine and the rib cage. Same thing, side bend, flexion and extension, and then try to create a circle one way and a circle the other way. We'll move to the pelvis. Pelvis goes to the left, laterally shift left and right. Anterior and posterior tilt, so tucking the pelvis under and untucking. And if you can achieve that, you can make a circle one way, you can make a circle the other way. From the pelvis, we move to our point furthest away from the hand, our foot. We move our foot in front, we move our foot to the side, we move our foot to the back, and we take it out diagonally behind us. After a minute or so of that movement, you'll release the hands. It's going to be a little bit uncomfortable during the movement, but it should, after a few seconds, release and feel better. If you feel pain in the movement, be aware that that pain should go once you finish the movement. If you feel pain in the movement and the pain's still there after, pay attention that you may have just added too much pressure at the very beginning, and that just gives you an opportunity to learn and back off and maybe not put so much downward force at the beginning, but you do want to be at a point where all of your body weight can go through your hands. Once you've done internal rotation from the shoulder, you'll repeat the same movement in external rotation. I'll make contact, release, find a new spot, make contact, release, find a new spot. Throughout a minute, I'm looking for the place that's most uncomfortable. I'll keep my knee where it is and then go through the same joints. Elbow, ball and socket, scapula, neck, rib cage, pelvis, and leg. Once you've done one side, you repeat on the other side. After doing some soft tissue work to the hand, what I like to go into is some rotator cuff exercise. We'll start with an open chain rotator cuff. What you'll do is find a point of stability. You can either, if you're uncomfortable on the knees, you may want to sit on a box or sit on a chair. But what we're trying to do is create stability through the spine and look to only move the ball and socket joint. So I'll show you with my fingers here. I'm going to bring my arm in front of me, and I'm going to take my shoulder through internal, and external rotation. As I move through this range, I want to avoid any clicks, any cracks, any pops. If this angle starts to aggravate anywhere, I can always slightly change where my hand is in front of me. It doesn't need to be this straight ahead, but I do want a clear, clean movement through internal and external rotation. We're going to do this for about maybe 10 or 15 seconds, and then without moving the spine, we'll change the angle of the arm and still create this internal and external rotation. I'm trying to move predominantly through the ball and socket rather than just the elbow joint or just the hands. So I want to be very, very specific to my movement. Go internal, external rotation, internal rotation, external rotation. Same thing, 10, 15, 20 seconds. Without moving the spine, I'll take my arm to a new position or a new angle. Internal rotation, external rotation, internal, external. I'll change my arm to a new angle. External, internal, external, internal. Hand can go by the side of you. Same rotation. Arm can go across the body. Same rotation. What I want you to do is pay attention to where your arm is in relationship to your torso. So if you look here, look, my arm is by the side of my body, I'm rotating. My arm is in front, I'm rotating. My arm is by my ear or by my head, I'm rotating across my chest, out to the side. This is our open chain. Once you've done several minutes of this, I like to do kind of 2 to 3 minutes of one side, and then I'll go straight into a closed chain version. So the movement's essentially the same in the joint, except the way I move my body is going to be different. I will put my hand down onto the ground, and hopefully it should make better contact on the ground after doing some of the soft tissue work. If you see the line here, I'm going to turn my fingers towards my midline, and I'm not going to move my hands. And what I'm then going to do is the same way my arm was in front of me, my arm is in front of me. I'm going to look to move through internal rotation, external rotation. I'll do that several times, making sure there's no pain, clicks, or cracks through the joint. If loading it long lever is difficult, you can go onto the knees, you can have your other hand down, and make it so that you're not putting all the load through the arm. Once you've done a few reps here, I then think, next position. So my next position, arm by the ear, rotation. And notice that as I'm going through internal, external rotation, I don't want to come out and do something different and then try and finish in that movement. I want to keep that movement very clear and stay in this direction, stay in this position as I move through different directions. Once I've done several reps, I'll change my angle again. Arm to the side of me, arm to the side of me. Rotation one way, rotation the other way. A few reps here. New position, arm behind me. Rotation one way, rotation the other way, several reps. Arm can go across the body. A little bit more difficult, this one, just to more manage yourself, but it can be achieved. Rotation, rotation. Same thing, we're looking for 2 to 3 minutes with our hand on the ground. So our first movement is open chain. And then our second movement here is closed chain. Same thing's happening in the joint, just the way we move through those positions is different in the body. Okay, next thing we're gonna do is our rotator cuff exercise for our shoulder. Very often you'll see a lot of people teach the rotator cuff with a band. You'll hold onto a band and do some movement. That's an open chain rotator cuff exercise. And I find that that requires a bit more strength through the shoulder. This one's really nice because you're actually moving the body around the shoulder with a closed chain. The starting setup for this is to make sure that the scapula is a nice, stable beginning here. Your hand will go onto the shoulder. You'll lift your elbow to a point where your shoulder blade starts to elevate. For some people, that might be quite low, but it shouldn't be above 90 degrees in the elbow lift here. So if I'm gonna lift the arm, I'm paying attention to this position. I wanna feel where the scapula starts to elevate, and then that's my stopping point. I bring the arm against the wall, I put the foot that's closest to the wall in front, and then I'm gonna track forwards and track back. I'm gonna spend 1 minute here. I'm gonna go forwards, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go forwards, I'm gonna go back. I'm not allowing my shoulder blade to move out of this neutral position. That's the reason the hand is here. I go forwards, paying attention to this top hand. I go back. I can change my angle slightly. I can go slightly in, I can go slightly out, but I'm keeping my hand on my shoulder and I'm just bringing awareness to the rotation of that ball and socket joint. After a minute, I'll look to move my thoracic spine into flexion and into extension. So our first movement here, real quick, is kind of this movement. Our second movement from the chest is this movement in the shoulder. So I'll flex, I'll extend, I'll flex. I don't need to add extra neck and I don't need to add extra hip. I'm looking to move the part of the spine that's closest to the shoulder. Extension and flexion, I can change my angles. After a minute, this is the time that you'll take your hand off of your shoulder and then you're gonna look at your palm. I'm only gonna move this hand to a point where I can see. I don't wanna take my hand or my palm beyond the range that my eyes can see. I'll only rotate around where my eyes keep contact with the palm. And this movement here, this rotation that you're doing, is the same as this diagonal rotation that you may do. So I go under, I go over. And I'll look to do 1 minute in this direction, 1 minute in this direction, and 1 minute in this diagonal direction. Same thing, once you've done one side, repeat for the other side. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. Let me know how you get on. If you like this stuff, let me know as well in the comments below. And also let me know what other things you're looking for. Thanks a lot.